Hey, welcome back. As we mentioned, despite a third-place finish in Iowa, Nikki Haley is now calling the Republican presidential primary a two-person race between herself and Donald Trump. As she turns her focus to New Hampshire, Haley is also sharpening her attacks against the former president. In her speech last night, Haley compared Trump to Biden, saying both lacked a vision for the future and were consumed by past grievances. Haley also said today that she will not participate in the next debate unless Trump is also on stage. Joining me now is the former Republican governor of Maryland and chairman of An America United, Larry Hogan. Last month, he stepped down from his position as a co-chair of the No Labels group, and ahead of last night's caucuses, he threw his support behind Nikki Haley. Governor, thank you so much for joining us here on Meet the Press Now. And
great.
Governor, last night, Haley said that Iowa made the primary a two-person race, as we've been saying. You know, given Trump's dominance last night, aren't Republicans saying that they do not want a Trump alternative? We've been hearing so much about, you know, that Republicans are hungry for a Trump alternative. Doesn't last night's results go against that?
I'm not sure. Look, I think it was a very strong night for President Trump, as we expected it to be in Iowa. That's sort of the heart of MAGA country, and no one I mean, Ron DeSantis was saying for quite a while that he was guaranteeing a win, so it wasn't a very good night for him. But Nikki Haley came from nowhere, from 2% to up to about 20%. But yeah, Trump comes out of there with a lot of momentum, no surprises. However, the winner of the Iowa caucus usually is not the nominee. It hasn't been for 24 years. So New Hampshire is going to be a whole different ballgame. I mean, you could make the argument it's a one-person race, but I believe it is potentially a two-person race. And the poll came out today in New Hampshire that has Trump at 40, Haley at 40, and DeSantis at 4%. So I think that if that poll is anywhere close to being accurate, it is a two-person race.
Yeah, other polls have her down by several points, but point taken, she is doing much better in New Hampshire than she was in Iowa. But, Governor, if she does not win New Hampshire, is her campaign over?
You know, New Hampshire kind of has a way of surprising people, and we've had some unusual outcomes. I don't know that she needs to win. I mean, everybody expects Trump to win all the primaries, but I think she does have a chance, an outside chance to pull this off and win the race. But a strong second-place finish could give her some momentum as she heads into her home state of South Carolina.
Wait a minute, Governor, you're setting expectations there. No one expects Donald Trump not to win New Hampshire. Her campaign is, saying that they will win New Hampshire. And as you just said, the polls are showing that she's really close to doing that. So if she doesn't win New Hampshire, and then we head to South Carolina, I know she's from there, Governor, but what happens there? Trump is so far ahead.
Yeah, well, right now Trump is ahead. I mean, he's sort of taken over the Republican Party in most of the states under the primary process. So if the election were held today, Trump would probably win South Carolina. My point was if she comes out with a win or a very close, she's neck and neck with Trump in New Hampshire, it could give her the boost that she needs to go back home. Look, it's Trump's race to lose. It looks as if Trump is very strongly potentially going to be the nominee, which is not my preferred outcome. But I really do believe that Nikki Haley has a shot, whether she wins or places a close second in New Hampshire. It's going to be a whole different story than Iowa.
So, Governor, you just said if Trump is the likely nominee, if that does happen, what are you, Larry Hogan, going to do?
Well, it's a tough question. Look, I've been saying for a long time, I agree that you were talking a moment ago, Nikki Haley is now using some of the messaging I've been using for the past year, that 70% of the people in America do not want that rematch between Donald Trump and Joe Biden. They're the two least popular presidents in American history. They've both got tremendous problems. Donald Trump has about 50% of the Republicans. Back to your first question, about 50% do not want Donald Trump. However, they've been spread between, it was 11 or 13 candidates, which is why we've got to get it down to a two-person race. He doesn't control all of the votes. And in the Democratic Party, it's even worse. I think 59% of Democratic primary voters would prefer someone other than Joe Biden.
And, Governor, look, Donald Trump has essentially reshaped the modern Republican Party. How much longer can moderates such as yourself survive within the party?
Well, I'm a lifelong, I would say, common sense conservative. I don't, call myself a moderate, but the party has certainly moved to the right of me, and it's become a different. I come from the Republican wing of the Republican Party, more traditional Republican rather than the MAGA wing, and that's less than 50% of the people consider themselves part of that. But he really has captured the attention. It's very difficult. It's either going to happen in this election or somewhere down the road, but it's not Ronald Reagan's party anymore. That's for sure.
And Governor Reynolds said yesterday that if Trump is the GOP nominee, she, of course, endorsed Governor DeSantis, but if Trump is the nominee, she says that she would support him. And we're seeing the GOP establishment fall in line. More senators are coming out endorsing Donald Trump over the last couple of days. What is your message to them?
Well, look, it's frustrating to me that so many people are falling in line, and they really, behind closed doors, people will say directly they agree with me that they're very concerned about Trump, and yet they're afraid to not get behind him. I'm not going to be one of them. I'm not going to support Trump no matter what. Mm-hmm. I don't think Donald Trump or Joe Biden should be the next president, and I'm hopeful that we can come up with some kind of an alternative in either a new Democratic nominee, a better Republican nominee, or potentially another choice.
So if Trump is the nominee, who do you plan to vote for? I know in 2020, correct me if I'm wrong, you wrote in Ronald Reagan. I mean, what do you plan to do this time?
Yeah, I haven't voted for Trump in either one of his two elections, and so I probably won't do it again this time. I mean, I won't do it again in this election. But
would you vote for Biden?
I won't vote for Biden either. I think he's a terrible president. I think he's moved the country too far left of a direction, and I think he's just shown weakness to the world. I don't think he's up to the job, frankly. And so I'm still hopeful that I think the Democratic Party, if I could give them some advice, I really think that Joe Biden's family and some of the leaders in the party ought to tell him to take the bow. And he said he was going to be a transitional president. Let him do that and walk away before this race. I'm afraid he's the only Democrat in America that can't beat Donald Trump.
And Governor, before I let you go, I want to get you on the record one more time. You stepped down from your position as co-chair of No Labels. Are you 100% ruling out that bid for the White House in 2024?
My position on No Labels hasn't changed. I've never made any indication, taken any steps to try to, I'm not out there trying to campaign for that. I don't even know if it's going to be necessary. No Labels may or may not, depending on what happens over the next couple of months, launch a campaign. They have about 12 people they're talking about. I'm flattered that they're considering me one of them. I haven't slammed the door on that idea, but it's certainly not something that I'm focused on. I'm focused on trying to help Nikki Haley beat Donald Trump in New Hampshire.
And really quickly, before I let you go, we've reported that there have been conversations between Chris Christie and No Labels. Would you support Chris Christie for a third-party candidacy?
Chris Christie's. Yeah, I'm not sure Chris Christie has any interest, and they do have sore loser laws that if you were running in the primary, you can't run as an independent. So I'm not sure that's going to happen, but I'm a good friend of Chris Christie, and I appreciate his efforts standing up and telling the truth about Donald Trump.
Governor Larry Hogan, thank you so much for joining us. And we should note that we did reach out to the DeSantis campaign for a guest to join today's show, and we did not get a response. The invitation remains open.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.